iPhone and an iPad project, and we'll be able to do some cross-fertilization, and also it's very interesting. I had a conversation yesterday with Apple and McGraw-Hill publishers, and looking at the ways in which we can use content and have more access to content, because I don't think you're going to change the traditional academic unless you can talk about their favourite content in some useful way or form.
And that's exactly the issue we're dealing with here, and Alan may want to come on and say something in a sec, but certainly with the Faculty of Science, one of the things we're doing is looking at the textbooks. We've been talking to, or the university's been talking to a lot of the publishers. We're also looking at open educational resources as well, because we really do have to break this nexus, I think, between, set texts, which actually almost force people down a particular path in terms of the learning activity they get students to do. And we need to rethink that. We need to be able to repackage and repurpose these materials much more readily. So it's certainly one of the things that we've been looking at. So perhaps what we might do is share some of our experiences, I think, David. So Alan, I might hand over to you first, and then we can get back to David.
Yeah, sorry, Jeff, if I got jumped in there. I'm sure, David, you've been talking to Apple about Inkling, I-N-K-L-I-N-G. I assume that's one of the things you were talking about.
Yep.
That's to me is the most exciting advance in changing what Jeff was talking about. The social networking around it is just phenomenal. And of course, from what we've heard down here, and remember that our science people are waving 1,000 iPads in front of the client, the Apple, etc., is that the producers or the publishers are really working hard to try to get it all on Inkling.
Can I just pick up this 1 second, please?
Yep, that's fine. We've still got to do our normal business.
Can you call me back in about 5 minutes? Is that possible? That person I have to talk to, folks. That's my Apple contact, probably calling from Beijing. And,
okay, listen, David, we'll say
goodbye.
goodbye.
Call
so
me
you
back
can
in about
sign off
5
now.
minutes. But anybody who hasn't seen Inkling, one of the problems we've got here in Asia is that the publishers are way behind the publishers in Western countries. And in fact, if you have an iBook account or an iPad in Australia and you go on, you can see things to buy. And the same in the US. I have an iPad here in Hong Kong, but I have it registered in the US. In Hong Kong, if I go to an iBook store through my iPad, there's nothing. I can't buy anything. Publishers here in Asia are, to put it bluntly, terrified of having any kind of content available in a form that that could possibly be copied in any way. And in fact, even our library, they have some draconian policies applied to them in the ways in which they access electronic resources, and we have a huge budget for that. We're very, very well resourced in that regard. So, yeah, Mathew, you're right. They are, well, they're not scared witless. What happens here, to be quite honest, is textbooks are assigned, one student or a group of students will buy it, and then they'll photocopy it. And it goes on all the time. So our bookshop is very small. They don't sell very much. And the model of selling books is just a waste of time. But they haven't caught the idea yet. Yes, you're right. You can buy photocopied books everywhere.
Yeah, one of the things, of course, is the idea of buying by the chapter as well. That's interesting. And the publishers are screwing that down here by overpricing everything. So we are literally in the process right now of pushing for price breaks. But we can talk some more about this, David. I hope we do.
Look, I really would appreciate those conversations, Alan, because it's pretty difficult up here. And as you say, the evidence there is blindingly obvious for anybody who's looking at this particular issue, because 4.5 billion music downloads from the iTunes store for music, one song at a time, can't be wrong. It's ridiculous. So how can you actually even think about not following that model? Because it's clear that the Apple DRM works brilliantly.
That's true. One of the things that's interesting about Robert Hill, his vision for science, which is what we're changing everything actually down here, is he's really got a long-term plan to move away from published texts into newly created. It's a longer plan vision, but it's very interesting.
Well, see, we could do that in our institution, providing we can get our providing we can get our institution to agree that some of the ways in which our humanities professors publish would be fine. But we really have to get things like the academic performance review conditions adjusted to recognize the different ways in which people can publish. And at the moment, they're all about A journals and not much else.
Yeah, change.
Yeah, it's scary stuff. Very scary stuff.
Let's talk Skype anytime you like, David. I'd love to.
Sounds excellent. I'd be very happy to do that.
Ian Green, who is my partner in all this, we presented to 10 Cambodians this morning. I'd never seen an iPad before. It was a very interesting cultural experience.
You should see the mainlanders up here. We have scholarship students from Burma, Pakistan, and of all places, Zimbabwe. And they're having a good time.
Excellent. I'm going to say goodbye. My family's just arrived here at home, and I will be in contact, sir. You can count on it.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, it'd be great to talk to you. We'll go back to my call from Beijing shortly and see what they're going to say. I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, David. Geoffrey, I'll just say goodbye now too, because they're probably going to kick me out of the foyer here of one of the UTS buildings, so I'll probably have to go soon. But it's actually been a really interesting experience to sit here, just wandering into a foyer. I just found a chair to sit on here in the entrance and just run the whole thing. I've participated from here, and it just really just shows that you can do these sorts of things from literally anywhere if you've got a good connection or a reasonable connection.
Indeed, and I look at the debates in Australia about broadband, and it's quite clear that many people are missing what the actual serious issues are. And I know that the connectivity I have here is extraordinary, and I have a 6 megabit connection at home that costs me about $30 Australian a month.
Boy, would we like that.
Exactly, and people don't get the ideas of what true, yes, unlimited data, Mathew. It is really quite incredible, and it's very, very cheap, and it's sort of I look at the Australian situation, and we need to spend money as a country on these kinds of resources, and more importantly, we actually need people in decision-making capacities to understand the implications of what it means. And if we don't, from as an Australian looking from the outside and moving around this region, unless we get this broadband really there and in place and cheap, we're just going to fall behind these tiger economies up here.
Yeah, exactly. So
I'm likely to get a call back from Beijing. Unless anybody's got anything really pressing, they probably might have exhausted things at the moment, but there's a few hanging on, I see. And but by all means, if you want to have a conversation in the future, my Skype name is pretty easy to find on Skype. Just Kennedy DM, and located in Hong Kong. And by all means, I'm happy to continue conversations, particularly about building apps that make these processes easier and sharing these things. Because we had to buy eClicker to get it working, but everybody needs these kind of resources to engage and initiate conversations and debate and give feedback. So why aren't we clubbing together and building our own, just giving it away? It doesn't make any sense to me. And everybody building their own equally doesn't make any sense to me. So if people would like to collaborate, I'm a great believer in it. All the stuff we've done up here for the last couple of years has been released open source. We built a Moodle block that allows you to connect mobile devices directly into Moodle, and we gave it away. So that's certainly my philosophy.
Okay, thank you, David. I'll say goodbye, and I'll see you if we don't talk. I'll see you in the early part of
March
next year.
Yeah, and we'll probably all have
March
conversations about your talk, and I look forward to a really good day.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
Okay, bye-bye, folks. How do I end this? Okay. See, how do I stop this thing?
Just the exit.